So today we're going to tie my Hellgrammite. It is a Hellgrammite pattern tied with the Eastern Trophies Crittermite tails and their suede game changer tail for the head. It's been a great fly for me for the past couple years for smallmouth. I've done a tutorial on it for you guys a couple times, and now I'm going to show you how to do it via video. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Daiichi 2151 salmon hook. It's a curved shank, a lot like the 200R or the 2303. I just started fishing these things with black hooks this year, and I really just think it's more of a cosmetic deal. But either way, I think it looks really good in black. So we're going with black. So first thing you're going to do there is we're going to put in some lead eyes. Dab them with a little super glue on the bottom to kind of hold them in place. Pull that thread to the front. We take our little olive game changer tail, again from Eastern Trophies fly fishing down in Virginia. These guys are pretty sweet, pretty cool guys. So you're gonna make that little head right there, flip it over. One other thing too is once you have the super glue there, it gives it a little bit more reinforcement holding that in as well. So we're going to take a little bit of rubber legs here, tie that down like that, and then I'm going to grab them and spin them once and lay them flat like that. Secure them a couple times, take your thread to the back, flip this hook back over, and we're going to tie in the legs. I'm going to do 3 sets. The original one that I did only had one tie-in set of legs. Worked awesome. Again, being a picky fly tyer, I wanted it to look a little bit more realistic, and Hellgrammites have a boatload of legs, so instead of adding a boatload, we're going to add 6. And the little pinchers in the front, which are technically rubber legs, also add to that movement. So you can kind of exaggerate your legs a little bit in the sense of size to start, and then once you get the body on, you can see how far out they stick. When I first did it, I made a couple that were a little too short, so now I go relatively dramatic, and then I'll cut them off. So again, you just gonna make sure those things are secure, and it doesn't really matter if they're straight or not. If you want to be super picky, they can be straight. But now we're gonna kind of bring it down about halfway past that hook point right there, and we are going to take EP fiber tarantula brushes, and I'm going to tie in the end there that has barely anything except for the metal piece. And this is the Sculpin Olive UV, probably my most used, and then we're also going to be using some laser dub. Originally used just ice dub, or I tried the semi-seal stuff. So I really like the ice dub for the flashiness. However, I've really started to move more into the laser dub, and just for giving it something more to pick out a little bit. So kind of make yourself a relatively long loop here, and then you're just going to go in between the legs a couple of times, making them relatively full. Sometimes it's more of a pain in the butt than anything. So just pull them back out, and that loose wrap between them will really help them. Now again, you're going to put you can also wrap them with the tarantula brush, so if you're not satisfied on the way they're kind of sticking out, they will definitely stick out a little bit more. So again, adding a little bit more dubbing on the head, because you're not going to have quite as much tarantula there, so it's going to help you really kind of pull that out a little bit. So one tight one right behind it kind of gives you that tie-in point where you're not going to pull that, and then we normally do one more, so really just 2 behind the legs here. And we're going to do 1 in between each leg. And again, when these things are free floating in the water, doesn't really matter what the legs look like because they're constantly moving. If you want to be super picky about it, you can spend your entire day trying to get these things to stay straight. Personally, don't really matter to me that much. So then I'm going to flip it over. As I'm flipping, I'm going to pull this up. I'm just going to lay this over the top. One of the reasons why we started using the laser dub, or some sort of dubbing in between them, is because these brushes are pretty expensive. So going from being able to get maybe 3 flies out of a brush to getting 6 or 7, for me it's more bang for your buck, so definitely helps. So now I'm going to do a small whip finish right there. You know, your fly is relatively finished here. I like to kind of pick out just a bit now to really see what's going on and kind of try to direct most of this stuff down so it doesn't get covered up with the body. So then there's the body here, and I always pinch it on first through this little hole, and then I'm going to flip it out, push it back under, stick that boy back in, and then all you're doing now is you're pulling it forward. You can pull it as tight as you want, as loose as you want. I like that pretty tight just because it gives you a little bit more effect and there's no like loose bubble in between the material. So then we're going to cut this little tab off after you tie that in there. I'm going to whip finish again. So again, these flies are on the bottom all the time. That's pretty much why I've learned to tie so many, is because we do lose a lot of them. So double whip finish, and then hit it with a little bit of super glue there. Not only is that going to help secure that knot, but it's also going to secure when you flip this little head over, and then you just hold it down for a second. Once it's down, you're good to go. So you've got your little Hellgrammite there. And one other thing I do at the very end is I pick out even more to give it a little bit more bugginess. One thing I like about this sculpting color is it's got a little bit of UV red in it, so if you hit that with a UV light, it really gives you a little bit of accent, so gives something for these little smallmouth to see on top of that. So again, your legs are going to kind of do whatever they really want to. So yeah, there's your Hellgrammite 3.0, if you will. Thanks a lot.